I'm over here now.
And now, here's Guy Benson.
It's the happy hour here on the Guy Benson Show, Wednesday edition. Glad you're listening. Thank you. GuyBensonShow.com is our website. Podcast always free, always on demand, as soon as the show ends in just about an hour. And this radio hour is sponsored by the Finnish Long Drink, our friends there. It is a great product. It is so delicious. I'm a big fan. Please drink responsibly. It is for listeners who are 21 plus only. TheLongDrink.com. You can find out much more there, where they're sold near you. You can order online. They're expanding their variety packs. They are now coming in tall boy packaging, like larger containers. My goodness, how exciting. That's all at TheLongDrink.com. Well, joining us now, as promised in the last hour, it is our dear friend Kennedy, host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, at Kennedy Nation on social, and she is Fox News' very own cultural icon. Kennedy, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Guy. Good to talk to you after spending some time with you last week and into this Memorial Day.
Yes, so that's what I want to start with here. I mentioned some of my own thoughts and gave our audience just a sense of what we experienced over those 3 to 4 days in Poland. That was on yesterday's show. Then in the last hour, I responded to some of these ghouls on social media who are reacting to our content about the Holocaust and about the concentration camps and the extermination camps by saying, well, look, now the Jews are doing a genocide of their own in Gaza, which is a complete lie, and I debunked that and dismantled it last hour. And I told a quick story that I would love to get your actual firsthand experiences on, which was the Aperol spritzes, the beautiful evening al fresco at the cafe, and the hate rally that walked past you, and how that triggered a response from you and some of our friends.
So as we were making our way through Treblinka, Majdanek, Auschwitz, and Birkenau, the horrors and the evil really crystallized in a way that it's impossible to feel an experience when you read about it in a book or when you watch a movie.
Yep.
But, walking those steps, seeing the cattle car, seeing the rail line that went right into that stop at Birkenau, which was the life or death stop, thumbs up or thumbs down for most people. 85% of people were gassed at Birkenau within just a couple minutes of arriving. The scope of the genocide, even though it's incomprehensible, it really started to take shape. And what was so incredible about our hosts is that they gave us a very gentle ramp into the horrors of the Holocaust. And, as you go further down this ramp and descend into the hell of the dark side of human nature, and you realize what is happening, you also start to comprehend what genocide really is. And, as we were going through all of this together and retracing those steps, which was so powerful, you start to ask yourself, well, how could people possibly deny this? When they were able to salvage even a small percentage of Nazi records that they were able to find that were either buried or in haste not destroyed, and really piecing things together, particularly from the upper echelon in the Nazi Party, their words, their firsthand account of what they were doing and what they were trying to do. We started to ask ourselves, how can people deny this? The brutal...
Well, remember, they played us part of that recording, I believe, of Himmler, who was giving basically a pep rally speech to SS members, telling them to carry on and do their duty with the genocide, because even though it's difficult to slaughter women and children, it simply must be done, and you can't let the children survive because one day they might want revenge, and we can't let that happen, so you just have to go through with it. That's in their own words in real time.
Yeah, and it was the other camp commander at Majdanek who was like, I'm not really doing anything wrong because these aren't people. To me, it's just cargo.
Cargo is how he referred to Jewish people.
And he was able to dehumanize the Jews so much. And so when you experiencing something like this on that scale, and then, we were sort of meditating on the bus going from one extermination camp to the next, asking ourselves, like, well, how can people in this modern era, knowing full well what happened during the Holocaust, how can they call for a global intifada? How can they chant from the river to the sea, knowing what that means? Like, that's not theoretical. And that's when so much of this went from theoretical to real. And it was so real, and just the pain that so many millions of people experienced, and the fear and the rumors and the terrifying realization that their life was just seconds away from ending, and people calling for that now. So Emily and I are sitting there. The sun is beginning to set. It's early in the evening. It's a beautiful night, and we're really just trying to decompress and talk and, really feel what we had been through. And then this pro-Palestine march, and it's the same people. It doesn't matter if it's in New York City or in Boston or San Francisco. It's the same exact people. And they're so incredibly irrational. So there they are calling for a global intifada an hour away from Auschwitz.
Ugh.
So Emily and I...
In English, right? You said they were chanting
they're
in
chanting
English.
in English. So
Why?
Emily and I both stand up. And, I start screaming at them, go to Auschwitz and learn about the genocide. Like, learn about what happens when millions of people are exterminated because you don't like their religion. Because for whatever inexplicable reason, they pose a threat to you. So, how evil, how dark can humanity get? And the rationalizations you can paint for yourself to justify this, that just speaks to the mass specter of the evil. So go to Auschwitz right now. Learn about a genocide. And Emily is like, "F you, F you."
Yeah, she
was so mad because.
But you caught us. I mean, that was literally hours after we had been at the gas chambers of Birkenau, and then they walked past us on this beautiful night. This was before I got there, but past our table. I understand sort of a volcanic reaction. I'm glad that they saw it, because I think a lot of the times people just ignore them. They don't want to make eye contact. It's like, oh, there they go. I'm sure they have some people who support them, some people who don't, and most people just keep their mouths shut. I'm glad that they got they messed with the wrong people. You're not going to walk past that table and not hear something about it, especially under those circumstances.
Yes, and especially, the experience we were privileged to be hosted through for 4 days. And, it's very difficult to relive that and recount that, because the thing that our group was so incredible about showing us was our shared humanity. And when you go to the Auschwitz Museum, one of the things you see, and this is why the museum is curated so thoughtfully and it's so poignant and so effective, you go into a room and the room is darkly lit, and on the walls are silent movies, silent family movies. And, all it has is the country and the date, and it's 1937, the Netherlands, and it's these sweet families doing the things that we all do with our families. It's family weddings, it's picnics, it's going fishing, it's singing and dancing, it's the holidays, it's the moments that you have together that were preserved in film, and you realize these were really beautiful lives where the worst thing that people thought that they were facing would be getting let go from a job or not getting into a college or having a marital spat. You don't realize that, first they're going to put you in ghettos, and then they're going to wall you inside concentration camps with armed guards and barbed wire, and then they're going to create a machine that is so effective at killing 2,000 people in 5 minutes that 1.5 million people will be killed in one spot where we were standing. And it all started, with people with kids and pregnant women who were rounded up and shoved into cattle cars and railroaded to these places where they were going to meet a quick and brutal death. I mean, it is incomprehensible. And I still am trying to wrap my head around what exactly we experience. I just know that I'm so grateful to have been through it. I'm so grateful to have learned more historical perspective. It breaks my heart in ways that I didn't realize I would feel those things before we went there. I knew it was going to be heavy, but it was so incredibly personal. And I'm not Jewish, and I can only imagine
none of us were,
what someone would go through who have lost grandparents or great-grandparents or other family members in the Holocaust.
Yeah, I think I made the point yesterday that of the people on the trip, the invited guests, us, we were all Christians, and our hosts were Jewish. And that interplay was meaningful. And watching them grieve, watching them pay honor and respect, watching them sing blessings and the tikva, which is now the Israeli anthem, in some of these locations, some of the most moving moments on the entire trip, where there's a photo that Molly Hemingway sent me this morning. I don't think I'm going to put it out publicly. It's just something for me to have. But she took it in real time while they were singing the tikva at Auschwitz, at Birkenau. And you have the remains of one of the gas chambers directly behind where I'm standing. And it's me, Mary Catherine, and Adam, and we're listening to them sing. And I have my hat off, holding it over my heart, and we all just look so shell-shocked. And that's a photo that I'm going to keep because that was so important, I think, to see and to feel and to experience. And if people ever have that opportunity, I encourage them to do so. It is not a light vacation, right? It's not really a vacation at all. But I think in order to avoid, when we say never again, to make sure that never again is real and we fulfill that moral imperative, you have to understand it as best you can. And it was a great honor to be invited. And last point I'll make about this, I think it was also really important from my perspective to go with people that I care about, because there was a lot of processing and digesting every day the horrors that we were introduced to, or that we learned more about, and then to be able to get back into the van and talk about it and then maybe move on to other things in our lives and have sort of a spirit of camaraderie, that was crucial to make the trip a success. And so what a joy to have you and Mary Catherine and Emily and the Hemingways and my other half. It was just very special in that sense, in addition to how sad it was, Kennedy. And I'm just really happy you were able to make it, because it's tough to say, hey, do you want to take this holiday weekend away from your family, away from all the fun that a lot of people have on Memorial Day weekend, and go and stare pure evil in the face for 3.5 days? But we did it, and I'm so glad you were there with us.
I'm so glad that you arranged it, and you created space for some of your best friends to go, because it really is so heavy and so emotional at certain moments. It would be tough to experience that kind of emotion and require that kind of processing with strangers,
right? Without support.
Yeah, and I was so lucky, and as soon as I got home, I got back to my apartment at 9:00, and my partner and my daughters were there, and I just sat them down and walked them through the Holocaust and some of what we saw and what human beings are capable of doing to each other, and the fact that there are human beings now that are calling for the same thing, and what that means. And it was very important for me to process that with my family after experiencing it with you and Adam and Emily and Molly and Mary Catherine.
Well, the feeling, of course, is mutual. Kennedy, this seems like a good spot to maybe take a break, take a breath. When we come back, I want to turn to completely separate topics, including a short video of a world leader on an airplane that's getting a lot of attention. I'm sure you've seen it. Everyone's talking about it. Kennedy's take on the slap when we come back.
In the swamp, not of the swamp. Guy Benson.
We're back. It's the happy hour here on the Guy Benson Show. Kennedy is our guest. And as we previewed right before the break, I want to turn to this, the slap. This is the most highly publicized slap since perhaps Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscars a couple of years ago. This is Emmanuel Macron, the leader of France, on an airplane, and a woman's hand, his wife's hand, on his face, and then he sees the cameras and lights up with this fake smile because he's like, uh-oh, we're on camera. I can only imagine that you have many thoughts on this.
Yes. So, first of all, I think it's fascinating for people in France, younger people, to look at this and go, wow, something's not right in that marriage. And then they realize how the union came to be, and he met her when he was, by some accounts, only 14, definitely 15. but a 14-year-old. And then when she was 39,
she's much older, right?
And yeah, she's 24 years older. She was married. She was married with 3 kids. One of her daughters was Emmanuel Macron's classmate at the private Catholic school where they met, where she was the drama club teacher. And his parents were so disgusted and so embarrassed when they found out about the affair that they ripped him out of school and sent him to Paris, hoping that this would just put the kibosh on the whole thing. It didn't. So, Mrs. Ozier at the time, Madame Ozier, she would go to Paris on the weekends and see her paramour and leave her kids and leave her husband.
A teenager.
Yeah, and
that's so weird.
So she continued the affair. The husband became an absolute recluse. They tried to find him in 2017.
That's like a crime, right? He was how old? 15?
Yeah.
She was. Yeah, that is definitely really. So that is like one element of this relationship that is really creepy and bizarre to begin with. And now here he is, a world leader, and I have things about his leadership that I like and many things that I don't like so much, including actually going back to Israel, his condemnation of Israel this week. But now here they are with some sort of physical altercation where she looks like she's the aggressor, and then that big, phony smile that he puts on, realizing that the cameras are capturing the whole thing. That's just like, again, such a politician move and so inauthentic, and they're just trying to laugh the whole thing off, but I don't think people are buying that it was all in good fun.
Yeah, if my partner put his hands on me like that and shoved my face, I don't think I would be laughing. If I did that to him, he definitely wouldn't be laughing. And, it's like Emmanuel Macron in 2017 called domestic violence France's shame and said, women in France should never live in fear. And it's like, yeah, what about the men?
Well, or at least this man, right? I don't know. It's like, and she's, how old is he? She's much older.
She's
of course,
72.
still.
He's 47.
Yeah, so she's in her 70s doing this. The whole thing, that is very strange to me. And
she was mad about something because a lip reader said when they were coming down the stairs, he obviously offered her his elbow, and she's like, no. And then she called him a loser, and he said, can't we just move past this? And she said, no.
Well, I saw CNN had a headline about how this is being used for Russian disinformation. I'm like, well, it's on video, so I'm not sure that's the correct way to describe it, but I guess they're sort of
nice 2017 playbook, CNN.
Yeah, it's like, what year do you think this is, guys? But sometimes the facts first.
It's probably a cheap fake. That's what his team tried to say at first. Like, this is fake.
They need Karine Jean-Pierre. She's already got the French-sounding last name. Get Karine over there. She can do PR for them, some damage control for them. That's my brainstorm that I just had, and we're out of time. Unfortunately, Kennedy, we've got to run. Again, what a pleasure seeing you these last couple days. Looking forward to next time together, somewhere a little bit lighter. How about that?
I'll do it anywhere you want to go.
You are the best thing on the radio!
Absolutely lame.